Cool. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Cool. Well, thank you for being here, first of all.
No worries.
And I hope that this, before we start this, I hope this is really good for information for people. And I hope to break stigma and make cannabis use not so scary, because I'm really excited about it, because now I don't have to be sad about my tools. I like my tools now. I like my pipe. I like my bong. I like my blunts. It's all good.
Absolutely.
Turn this on. Make sure we're good to go. Alright, good afternoon. Welcome to Lifelink Hard as Fuck podcast. Your host Arthur Lamy, and today we have Sunni Bee. Hello, Sunni Bee.
Hello.
You are director of Kingston Canada Connect, correct?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. If you're new to the station, real quick, this evening is going to be centered around cannabis. October 17th happened, the legalization of cannabis throughout Canada. And I think that was a really exciting day, and I think it was a really confusing day. And I'm excited. I sat out there too. I sat on my front porch, and I smoked a joint. I had my coffee, and I said, this is nice because I don't have to feel shame about this. Yes, I'm smoking and giving myself lung cancer. You can still, get at me for that. But I don't have to feel shame about what is burning anymore, which is cool. So we're going to lead into you now.
Perfect.
You're a director at Kingston Canada Connect, and what do you do, and what do we need to know?
So basically, Kingston Canada Connect, we help people get set up with the medical system. And through the medical system, then they have access for cannabis. Now they can see their own doctor, or we have doctors. So it's a fairly simple process. For our veterans, we've really streamlined it. You need a summary of assessment, you need ID, and you need to come in and see us, and that's pretty much it. We'll get you an appointment as quickly as possible, get in to see the doctor. There's never a guarantee that you're going to be prescribed. It really depends on the situation and whether or not the doctor feels that it's beneficial.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's good.
So there's definitely screening. Not everybody is accepted for it.
Do you help with that screening so you can tell people that, sorry dude, don't even try?
Absolutely. So the primary cause is PTSD, especially with our veterans, anxiety, depression, operational stress injuries, as well as complex PTSD. So with those things, what the doctors look for is a person who has supports. It's either going to be family rallying around them, friends, other affiliations, medical professionals like psychiatrists, psychologists, whether or not they've accessed all of the things that are available to them. Now, if they haven't, it's not necessarily going to work against them, but the doctor will definitely encourage them to start accessing everything.
Nice. Yeah, because I think even on my journey, I didn't go to drugs immediately. I went social worker to my psychologist and my chain of command and my chain. I was really super lucky. I have complex PTSD, it's complex moral PTSD. And for me, I didn't touch cannabis until I was fully retired because I was super scared of the stigma and getting kicked out. And my career I hold sacred, and I really love everything that I was trained to do.
Absolutely.
But before even I was in the military, I had the thought process I was going to bring it up to you, is before I didn't use cannabis before I joined the military. I was a snow bum, a ski bum, and a football player, and I wasn't processed to kill, and seek and destroy the enemy. And then I went to the military, and this is a part of the complex PTSD, I think, and it's for combat. I speak for combat arms. It's the programming of our training and that style of kill, and I think that's a real big problem. Even within my transition to understanding myself, is not only was it the war shit, but it was also the training shit and the programming. And cannabis has helped me understand and link the two.
Exactly. It creates a situation where you can experience the emotions without the trauma attached to it.
Absolutely.
You get a huge disconnect, especially morally. The average civilian, I am a civilian, I've been military supporter for as long as I can remember. I, couldn't join myself, so I married into it. It's always been very important to me, but the average civilian hasn't got a clue what our veterans go through. And when you sign up, yes, you know that they
That's
tell
right.
you what you're in
Hoorah.
for, but
Yep.
you don't know
Unlimited
until you
buying
get
ability.
out there.
But it's the training, yeah.
Exactly.
That's the training, and so I like that they're making sure there's a support group, because it's
Yeah.
easy if I'm alone out there and you give me the cannabis and you give me the opioids or whatever,
Yeah.
I can still commit, they're trying to change the wording, it's suicide, what is it? It says suicide.
You could make the
self-harm.
choice to take your own life.
And it's easy, and just
Yeah.
because you're numb, or because cannabis allows you to see colors for briefly, can make
Yeah.
you also feel your deep, deep pain
Very much
very
so.
clearly.
Very much so.
So you need to be aware and not have stigma
Yeah.
about that. Sorry, I'm taking it.
That's okay.
Sorry.
No, it's really, really valuable information, especially when someone is when they're at a vulnerable point. Any drugs, any options where they're not supported, whether it's a pharmaceutical medication or a plant-based medicine, they have to be supported emotionally in order to get the best out of.
So you don't
what they're
feel
taking.
self-shame of using a product, whether
Exactly.
it be medically prescribed, old school drugs, or the new plant that is now legal.
Exactly. And they're not cure-alls. You still have work to do. So there's Project Trauma Support, there's working out at the gym, there's connecting with family and friends, there's so many different things that people can do aside from the cannabis or in conjunction with the cannabis in order to get the best benefit out of it. It's not a cure-all. You can't just take cannabis and woohoo, everything is cured. You can certainly take it and just ignore everything, but then you're not actually progressing.
Then you're defeating the purpose of the plant itself.
Exactly. Exactly.
And this leads into good segue. The rabbit hole is clear. Okay, so we have options. The web pages are plain. We're now doing logs because we're now new to logging cannabis.
Exactly.
Which I'm really excited about. So if you're using cannabis, log the effects of your strains. It's super easy to do. You just put your strain that you have, you write it down, and even places like Tweed, or they just change their name again.
Yeah. Spectrum.
Spectrum.
Yeah.
We use Spectrum. They have areas for that. But THC and CBD, how do we use it, and how do we use it, or how have you seen it used with complex PTSD and occupational stress injuries?
Yeah. So for people who are under a great deal of stress and they're going through a wide variety of emotions, physical aches and pains, nightmares, all of these things, they'll affect you physically, your emotional well-being, as well as the thought processes, which people with operational stress injuries or complex PTSD have a really hard time focusing on things, staying on task,
rage,
remembering
rage.
Things, emotions suddenly coming up and then disappearing. It makes it really hard to have a consistently good day. So cannabis comes in the form of either CBD or THC. There are a lot of other chemicals in there that are processed by the body.
Yeah.
But primarily the THC in higher amounts seems to be what helps a lot of veterans the most. And once they build up the tolerance to it and they get used to the experience of being high, or they've graduated from the recreational and they're already confident with that, it creates that disconnect so that they can experience some of the traumas without that huge emotional weight that affects them physically and in other aspects.
And then when I talk openly about my emotions,
Absolutely.
even with Brittany day to day now,
Yeah.
and this week was our best with communication, and I think it is due to legalization because now I've been using my tools freely.
Yeah.
I still medicate 3 to 4 times a day, but I'm chill. I openly discuss all my emotions now, from frustrations of dishes left or even just dog shit in the backyard.
Yeah.
But I'm openly just being like, this is what I feel about this. It doesn't affect anybody or anything. This is how I feel, though.
Yeah.
and it's been really helpful, and cannabis has been a huge tool in taking the weight of that, and me putting the shame or the fear of a day into that one thing and then spazzing on the family.
Exactly. And that's, a lot of people are finding that it offers them.
I use 17%, sorry.
That's okay. 17% is pretty good.
Yep. And then CBD, I also use that for working out.
Yeah.
And I use a 20% CBD.
Excellent.
But anyway, we're on to you and talking about THC and CBD. So back to you.
Well, it's, and your story is very common. It's how people use it. Now, every person is going to be different. You might find that it's very beneficial to take it in 17%, and that would be your cap. And then you would use the CBD in a particular way. You take it twice a day or 4 times a day. Some people microdose it throughout the day. I have a husband at home, and he's chronic. He loves his bong, and he smokes it, and he eats it, and he'll juice it when he's got a crop. It's he's going to get full use out of the plant. And they're finding more and more that this is a viable option for a lot of people.
Well, they knew back in 1913, but that's like, we'll go back to that. That's capitalism crushing an enterprise, and they won. Good job.
And that's it. And that's a whole other area as well. So we have veterans who have been completely new to cannabis. They've never ever tried it.
Oh yeah, stigmatized. It's bad news bears.
You know, you go out and you drink.
Yep.
And that is the
Whiskey
norm
beer.
and socially acceptable.
Hoorah.
And incredibly,
on your shoes.
and incredibly damaging.
Punch your best buddy and you laugh about it the next day.
Exactly.
Because that's what boys do.
Yeah.
Or girls.
Yeah, and that's what I was raised to do. If you have a problem, you go out and you get drunk. You know, if you're stressed, you go out and you have a beer.
Sad.
Yeah, and it's
Depressant.
a lot of people develop alcoholism, dependencies on alcohol, or they binge drink whenever they have a problem. They might spend, a week getting absolutely shit-faced and then, sober up a little bit and get back to life.
And a week could be a short time. I've seen benders for months.
Yeah.
And totally functioning, checked out warrior.
Yeah.
But it was months of like, holy fuck, flies would land on him in PT.
Yeah. That's it. And they're totally out to lunch. They haven't got a clue. And it's self-medicating. Self-medicating comes up with all kinds of things. So people who are in need are going to try to find ways to feel better. So alcohol is the easiest and the most socially acceptable. Cannabis, hopefully, with the legalization, the stigma is going to be eradicated. So that these veterans that I have that come in that have never used it before, they don't want to smoke it. Their families may or may not be completely on board. I've seen remarkable changes. We've had a few of them come in where they didn't really have family support until the family saw the difference that cannabis was making for them. Complete about faces, people going on dates and having, they hadn't dated in the longest time, and then they actually take their spouse out on a date in public.
Well, touching, I found the personal again with the use of cannabis, and I want to make an amendment. I used cannabis before I joined the army, but once I realized I was going to join I stopped. So I had almost a decade before I used it, and that's going to come back to later, my point. But anyway, my use touch doesn't. I'm not cringy, or I don't want to punch anything that touches me now. Touch is acceptable. Bubble is reduced. Hypervigilance while out is reduced. It's chill. And again, cannabis. Like, yes, this seems really pro. I'm going to bring some possible negatives, such as being a space cadet, into this. But it is what it is.
Everybody is a little bit weird in their own way, and I think it's time that, especially when you've gone through things, I find that broken people are my favorite people because they're down to earth. They're generally more sensitive to other people and the things that are going on in our environment, our government, laws, regulations. They tend to be very sensitive and caring people overall. Just because you've been to the military and you have these things that have really crushed you, doesn't mean that you can't give back in some way, either to a partner or spouse or your children. Cannabis can help make that happen a lot of times.
Cool.
So you have to go and be very, very tough, and then all of a sudden they throw civilian life back at you, and there's no instructions on how to get back into it.
Not even just civilian life. If you go from combat arms unit to non-combat arms unit, it's a different world altogether.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the military is going to face really neat obstacles, and that's the old world versus the new world.
Yeah.
And one of my buddies, no name, already told me that he's openly talking about cannabis use at work.
Excellent.
And the higher chain of command are kind of freaking out.
Yeah.
And they're walking away, but the new age are talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So there is like this divide right now currently going on.
Yeah.
So for a first-time veteran going to Kingston Canada Connect, what should he have in his hand, and what kind of questions should he be ready to ask you?
He should have his or her.
Or his or her, thank
his
you.
or her summary of assessment. So that's the all awards summary, and that will show all of the conditions that the Veterans Affairs has agreed to pay out on that have been approved. It's usually on a legal sheet, and it's out of a scale of 1 to 5. If they don't have that, we can accept other documents that show what they've been awarded. We need this because generally we'll put you with a company that does direct billing. So the aim of it is to make it as easy for the veteran as possible. We roll out the red carpet, we bend over backwards, anything that we can do to make the transition easier. That's what our goal is.
And unfortunately, it's not even the red carpet. It's because most of us, when we're leaving, are still at like child level, because we've been in at the beginning of adulthood. We haven't had to worry about any paperwork. The military takes care of everything. So if you leave after 33 years of service, there's no fucking way. Like you could be chief boss, but leave and be like, whoa, this admin's
and
totally different.
it's not an intelligence thing at all. It's
not.
a matter of you've always
You
had
don't
someone
know.
tell you what to do and where to go and how to do it, and someone else handles the paperwork.
So that's nice. So what we got from that is if you're nervous because reading is difficult for you because of your PTSD or SI, because of the frustration that Canada Connect got your back.
Yeah, we
Back to you.
definitely do. There's a lot of repetition. We will go over it as many times as we need to do it. I do handouts as well, so that you've got something that has all of the instructions written down so that you can follow it when you get home. I'm on Facebook all the time. Our veteran ambassador, Sherry Bordage, I'm so happy she started. As a civilian, I have quite a few veterans who've signed on with me and that I've dealt with. And I can understand a great deal, but not everything. And I think it is so beneficial having a veteran on site who understands the inner workings and has experienced that. Absolutely.
The joys and frustration of chain of command.
Yeah. So it just brings it to a whole other level. I think we are the tag team to watch for sure.
Okay, this is cool. Canada Connect, what is your mandate, or what's your mission statement?
Yep.
And then what is your vision, and where do you see Canada Connect in 5 years?
Oh, goodness. Our mission is pretty simple. We want to be the #1 educational source for cannabis. Medical will offer information about recreational, but it's not really our forte. We want to make it accessible
That's
for
fine,
people.
because recreational, you know what, they can find that out on their own.
It will take care of itself.
That's right.
we
That's
hope.
that's its own world. But what I'm really concerned about is making sure that we, the generation that's using communication the way we are, communicate the right things to do with this amazing herb that's been given to us legally.
Get the most of it.
Yeah, and not abuse it, and let's make sure it's legal forever and not losing it.
That's it. We've worked so hard to come to this point.
I couldn't
and
imagine.
The world was watching, and you know what?
Laughing.
It was a very cool day.
Yeah.
We made history.
Made history, but at the same time, all of Canada was very hush hush about it.
Yeah.
nobody, like I saw nothing.
No riots, no great protests,
Or not
no
even
sit-ins.
But not even sit-ins in a celebratory way, really.
Yeah.
There's no. Everybody just went about their daily living, and probably everybody went home and had a classy joint at the end of the evening.
And
really nice.
I don't want to say that it's no big deal, but it was no big deal.
It was no big deal, yeah.
The people that smoke cannabis already know
Cool.
that this is something that is right and good.
Yep.
No huge celebration required. We already knew. The fact that we all got to partake in and be part of history, I think, is incredible. And we handled it like stars. We were classy and we were quiet.
Quiet
and
professionals.
We just enjoyed ourselves. That's
right.
it. I know quite a few people that had very nice little parties, and
Yeah,
I mean,
how nice is
you
this?
know,
We can have parties without fear.
That's it. And a cannabis party is generally not going to break out into a fight, or there's not going to be any rioting or looting. People might go to sleep, but
that's right.
You know,
that's
get
right.
the munchies, maybe hit the 7-Eleven. Or
That's the worst. I'm doing a men's physique show. I do have to deal. The munchies are a real thing. But I think they're real for all humans at 9 o'clock anyway, regardless of cannabis use.
Exactly.
But it is amplified, I'm sure. And oh boy, self-control.
Yeah, fruit, celery, lots of celery.
I don't even, you know what? I don't even touch it. I just go to bed.
That'll work too. That'll definitely work. So yeah, we'll finish up that. At Canna Connect, we walk them through every step of it. Education is really what it was about. It's getting that education out there. So I do a lot with doctors. I talk to doctors. I educate doctors. I drop off packages to doctors. And we support doctors who sign on with us. So I will do standard clinic notes so that they get to share along with their patients. And so that they know what's being discussed. Because a lot of doctors are very nervous about it because they don't have as much control.
That's right, because it is up to currently us
Absolutely.
for dosages, and I hope it stays that way because some weeks I don't need any
That's
at all, and some weeks I need my maximum, which is 4 times.
That's it. So patients decide their own dosage. They decide their strains. They decide pretty much everything. How they want to take it, the modality. Do you want to smoke it? Do you want to vape it? Do you want to eat it? Do you want to, grow some plants and juice it?
Real quick then, on that safety of vaping products. Do you support them currently in their state? I think they're poorly made.
Absolutely.
And I'm always worried about the
off-gassing.
Yep.
Yeah. Some of them, depending on where you go, I know there are a couple of places they'll give you straight up information about it. A lot of them buy from China. They're going to use really cheap solder. Cheap. It's going to be made with lead.
Yes, it is. I have 3 of them to prove it. I took them apart because I bought them just for that, and I knew for a fact, and I was 100%.
Yeah, and even if you spend like $300 on one, you're not guaranteed that it's going to be safe. So the safest one currently on the market is the Volcano. It's a tabletop model. You can either get a hookah pipe for it, or you can use the bag. And that one Health Canada has approved.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah.
Woo-hoo,
so that's pretty much the only one that's been Health Canada approved thus far.
This down, I put this in Volcano approved.
That's it. The next safest one and a favorite of mine is the Utilian 721, and this one is dual bowl. So if anyone is using concentrates, so they're doing squishes with a hot press, this one you can do dried or you can do your concentrates in it. And it is convection. So at no point is an element touching your product. It's completely convection. So it's a very safe model.
Nice and clean, and then you can use the leaf itself, cooking product.
Yeah. So if you do concentrates, the big thing now is doing squishes, shatters, butters, waxes, for that really heavy, quick hit. So if someone was having a moment where they were having serious flashbacks and they were paralyzed, afraid to move, or they were feeling incredibly angry, like they needed to lash out, that would be the kind of thing that they could definitely
do. Good example, thank you, That's really neat. Oh, neat. What is the portability, ease of application and durability of most products in this situation that you've just described?
That really depends. Oils, of course, for a panic situation, useless. Vaping,
Oh wow.
yeah, the oils take up to 2 hours to take
So
effect.
not at all, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's an aftermath.
Absolutely, it's
Okay,
either
good to know.
preventative, in which case CBD and low dose THC can help quite a bit, and then you would vape or you would smoke on top of that. So you can double up your methods. So you can start off your day. If you wake up and you're feeling pretty good, like you can handle the day's challenges, you would take a lower dose, and you would that lasts about 8 hours if you do an edible. If through half of your day things get tough or something happens that you weren't expecting, you can always vape or smoke on top of that just to take that edge off.
Neat. And I like this. I'm going to be a little bit hard because I also want to be a host.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I'm scared about with cannabis, because some veterans, not all, but some, and it hurts me, but when they allow the system to do what the system does best and lets them sit and rot.
Yeah.
So to any, this is only personal opinion, to all the vets out there, fucking give her every day. Doesn't matter, man or girl, like, just smoke your J, get the fuck up, drink your coffee, and if it's 5 minutes victory, it's a 5-minute victory, take it.
That's it. You take as many good
That's right.
seconds as you can.
But don't sit at home and just prevent good ones from happening because you're scared of the bad ones happening.
Yeah, and that's part of reaching out, and that's part of having your network. So at the center, we're trying to do things to bring people together.
And does CannaConnect have support groups like that? Do you
Not yet.
Okay, there
Not
you go.
yet. I know up in Petawawa, they are huge on networking.
Yep.
So it's a lot of veterans. Here in Kingston, things are so spread out. And it's
at the Iron King, it's super tight.
Which is awesome.
That's right.
Which is awesome. And the fact that you guys support Project Trauma Support
100%.
is absolutely incredible. And it was because of you guys that motivated me to actually gather up that donation to make to them. I started reading about it.
Awesome.
I've met a couple
Their
of people.
cohorts were fantastic.
Jason and Tango.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Really, really blessed to have met Carrie Lynn. And Carrie Lynn she is like this little catalyst that goes around introducing like-minded people. And I adore her. She's
I'm
fantastic.
excited. So if anybody important is listening ever to this, Carrie Lynn deserves whatever promotion that you have available, and she'll just work.
Yeah, even if it's just universal good vibes.
Yeah, send it her way.
She needs it. She's awesome.
100%. So shout out to you, Carrie Lynn. Thank you for your hard work.
Yeah, and it was fantastic because it was a lead-in for what I wanted to do with the center.
Cool.
We have an amazing company, and
let's work together on art and creativity from man and woman.
Definitely.
I think creativity is good for the soul.
Definitely. So this weekend, actually tomorrow, we are doing a polymer clay mini workshop.
Woohoo!
So we've got a ton of stuff. Come on by.
Cool.
It starts at 1:00.
Alright.
We have an artist coming in who's going to show everybody how to make little beasties or Christmas decorations. We've got some little pipes, bongs that you can decorate as well.
Oh my god, that's so cute.
It's awesome. So that's our day. We've got 8 spaces. I think we've got 3 spaces left.
Oh, nice.
So for a CannaConnect member, it's $25, or for a CannaConnect supporter, it's $25, and general public is $50 if they want to partake.
Yeah.
It's mostly just for us, though.
That's fine.
Yes,
That's good.
we've got our
Keep your
group,
network, grow it.
the family.
That's right.
That's
Cultivate.
right. And we have a huge family, and it's growing daily. I mean, we've met you and Brittany are fantastic. Your
Veterans
crew,
Walk was the first time.
absolutely.
And that's where,
that was way more fun than it should have been.
Oh, and that's my game plan every time we're running it this year again, because I'm tired of political bullshit and a farce of somebody trying to solve shit. I ain't solving nothing. All I'm doing is going, yo, what's up? Let's give each other high fives and like support each other.
But you know what? That does solve something. That solves the problem of connection.
That's right. which is lost.
Yeah.
And I think it's definitely lost.
Yeah.
And I see it in esprit de corps even. I love esprit de corps, and I love the fact that at any moment, anybody that I know, I will fucking take a bullet for. And I don't think enough people have people that will take bullets for them.
Yeah, and that's it exactly. The connection is lost, especially coming from the military.
Oh, yeah.
Isolation, and it's because you don't want to be a burden to your family, you don't want to be a burden to the people around you. The feelings don't go away, and you think that people expect you to be fixed. If they send you a picture of a puppy and a kitten, and it doesn't work that way. Sometimes it can stay with you for life.
And it's hard to, when you legitimately did your job, and I'm gonna say it because it's another thing that I have to break stigma, but like Taliban fucking hunters, Taliban killers, like that's what we did, and we successfully did it. And when you come back, it's just hard to be like, hey, like we were trained to fucking kill.
And now you're at Loblaws shopping
Chilling.
for kid stuff.
And somebody who looks at you, who doesn't even see you, doesn't see your world, but to you, that's so aggressive.
Yeah.
So that loneliness is all consuming,
and it can be very lonely.
Yeah, that's super fucking lonely, and I experience it even to this day. And what I hate is that I intimidate people with my eyes and my features in general, because I do have aggressive tattoos.
You're very alert.
That's right.
But because you've been trained to watch every single thing around
it's annoying.
It doesn't go away.
Nope.
I'm a survivor of childhood trauma. I was sexually abused as a child.
Thank you for sharing.
And you learn certain ways of coping. And I mean, even now as an adult, the things that I knew as a child, I have what I call the Sunni bubble, which Sherry would kill herself laughing at, because we talk about it quite often. And the Sunni bubble doesn't like people to touch her, and everybody is nice, and everything is wonderful and sunshiny, and life is just not like that. So I'm decidedly naive.
Tough. Yeah.
I push a lot of things out, and I just ignore a lot of things.
That's cool.
And that's my coping skill, but it doesn't
aware
translate.
Of it though. You're aware
Absolutely,
of it.
but it doesn't translate well to adulthood. It works great
No.
when you're 9 years old.
Yeah.
But when you're, pushing 50, it's time to grow up a little and find better ways to deal with things.
Wow.
And it's always this progression, but you have to be ready to switch gears if something's not working. And I think that's really, really hard coming from the military, where you've relied on people to tell you what needs to be done. And suddenly everyone's going, it's a free-for-all. You decide this and you decide
That's
this.
right.
And you have to find your own doctor when you get out of the military. They don't find one for you.
No.
I've talked to so many veterans that don't have benefit of a family doctor.
Or even know how to get it. I
Yeah.
know that's a huge fact, so
Yeah.
I would like to deal with that in the future. But
Absolutely.
that's a future problem.
So I mean, there's a lot of ways that we can support veterans, and I think civilians particularly. I talk to civilians all the time about it. In fact, I got into a bit of an argument with a lady on a bus this morning because she said something that cheesed me off.
Cool.
Which the last thing I heard was that what was it? She was talking about how veterans get, or they took the job. Why should they get all these things? And my head spun around, and it was like, you have no idea. And she was like, excuse me? And I was like, wait, you took a job working wherever it is that you work. Now, if your boss asked you to do something that you didn't agree with, you have the option of saying no. You don't have to do that job if you don't agree with it. If it's going to damage you in some way,
That's right.
you don't have to do that job. The law protects you. When you join the military, you join it because you want the camaraderie. You join it because you believe in your country, and you believe in your fellow people, and you have a job to do. It's an incredibly prideful thing.
It is. I take great pride in everything.
Absolutely.
Everything I did, and even the bad things, I still love, because my mentors prepared me the best that they could for those shitty things.
Exactly. Until you get out there, you don't see what's going on. But when you join the military, you have all of these things that you're prepared for, but you can't really ever prepare for them. And you don't have the option of turning down a job that you don't want to do. If you don't agree with something morally, you have to put that aside, because it's not just you.
And another thing is, too, at your job, you don't learn how to give a needle decompression, or a fucking MPA, or deal with a second chest wound, or a tourniquet in the leg. And if you do, you're probably a paramedic or a nurse or a doctor or somebody who is as awesome. And thank you for your service.
Yeah, and you're very rarely put in a position as a civilian where you have to make those split-second choices.
I literally saw a guy vomiting and choking on his own vomit, and there was 8 civilians around him, and Brittany and I both jumped out of the vehicle. I put him in a recovery position. I did not scoop the vomit out because he was having a seizure, and I didn't have gloves on, so I'm not fucking around with that shit.
Exactly.
So the vomit flew out naturally, and it came out, and he was good to go.
Well, that's what the recovery position is
right.
for.
That's right, but I was not scooping that out.
No.
But anyway, so they didn't see it there.
Yeah.
But how would they be scarred if they just watched him die?
Yeah.
So it's lucky that we were taught this way. And yes, we are a little bit intimidating. But guess what? When shit hits the fan, we're good to go.
Exactly, and that's where the alertness comes in handy. As much as it can be damaging,
but we're driving away. We're driving away from this. So let's get back to this. So now we've gone to your shop. Now it's 5-year plan. Where do you see us as veterans walking into your shop 5 years from now? How is it going to be better?
I think Canna Connect, it can only get better. I know the CEOs. We've got Lee Grossman, Shane Urowitz. We've got Ari. He's got a weird last name.
M12.
It'll come to me. And then we've got Bruce Frampton, who is our National Veteran Ambassador. Fantastic guy. And actually, the Highway of Heroes was his baby. He's
awesome.
just in love with it.
Good job with the cleanup.
Which is fantastic.
Boo-boo.
Yeah. Ari Rosenweg. Those are
nice.
Those are. See, it comes back around. So those are our 4 top cheeses. Fantastic guys. Huge hearts. And it started off that they just had a little idea. They knew that they wanted to do something in the cannabis business. It was starting to become a thing. They all believed in it, and then they found that veterans were in need, and they serve that need. That is what we are for.
100%. I think all the vets that I see that use cannabis, I'm a big supporter. I think it's great.
Yeah, and there are a lot of organizations. Some of them get it right out of the get-go. Things change. I think I would never begrudge anyone from making a little bit of money by helping veterans. It's a whole business. We have veteran businesses that we support. There's a lot of people up in Petawawa. They've got Cadence Health, and it's run by Chris Dupuis. And it wasn't something that he ever thought he would get into either. But it was a natural progression, and he saw a need where he could do some good, and that was where the heart goes.
Yep.
So
and you can
I think
connect with. It's just cannabis is social.
Absolutely.
It's social to begin with. It brings humans together, and it's great because a lot of people deal with insomnia, and I'm sure you dealt with that.
I still do.
There you go. So if you have, it's like a midnight cigarette, but instead of smoking cigarettes with your friends, you're smoking cannabis, and then hopefully that THC takes away your nightmares, opposed to tobacco thinning your blood and causing you to stay up later.
Which, I am a smoker. I'm
that's fair.
Constantly in quit mode.
I'm the worst kind of smoker. I'm an ex-smoker, so I
Which
judge
is
you
good.
harshly. I
Congratulate.
think
It's horrible. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
You can smell it on everything. Breath stinks. Hands stink. It's one of those things. I'm very, very paranoid and conscious of it.
Yeah, isn't that awful?
Yeah, it's terrible.
And then, but we still did it.
And it's still
Suck
sticking
back
one in my
that
face.
death stick.
Absolutely. And then actually a couple weeks ago, or not a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, I tried to do a push-up because I watched this stupid thing on YouTube, and I couldn't even do one. And that was where it was like, okay, I need to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my anxiety prevents me from doing certain things. It was actually a big thing for me to come here alone today.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yes.
I get very nervous for this as well.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's been awesome, and it's,
I had a Friday the 13th shirt on,
Oh,
and
did you?
I felt it was too aggressive, especially it's like our first time actually meeting. So I've changed it.
Well, I'm so non-threatening. I brought you fruit and a pumpkin, so there you go.
So I just naturally feel like it's coming to an end, but Lex, for the last question.
Yeah.
I love cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that this is always an open discussion for all people.
Yeah.
But how do you feel, this is going to be our last, we're going to finish with a hard question,
Yeah.
and then we're just going to
This
finish
is
slow
the
with
loaded question.
no, I'm going to switch this one.
Are ya?
Yeah. Cannabis and youth.
Yep.
This is where I earned my cannabis use of becoming one thing, a man or a woman. If you're a woman listening, you become 18. Or I use it for medical because I earned it because this is my medicine. I don't fuck around with this. I don't treat it like fun time Willie. This is my medication and I love it for that. Because I'm not a zombie. I get morning wood. Life is good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But youth, and do you think it's dangerous, this legalization for our youth?
Oh, that is a loaded question.
That's a tough one.
It's still loaded.
It is loaded.
For young people,
Yeah.
The majority of them, and I would say very safely about 75% to 85% probably should not do any drugs whatsoever.
Awesome.
I think the issue is, and it needs to be a conversation, and it should be a conversation.
Yeah, how do we bring it up with our kids? Oh my God.
Instead of reaching for the Ritalin and all of the Seroquels and everything, teach your kids how to cope. Teach them how to deal with life. Life is crappy. As you're going through life, it's mundane, it's boring, nothing's exciting, and that's normal.
Yeah,
that is absolutely normal.
Boredom is normal.
But
Sadness
kids can
is
also, exactly, these are all very normal emotions, and you don't necessarily need to jump to any drug first off the bat. What you need to do is educate your children on different ways to deal and cope with those stressors.
Wow. And that's I think, as parents, we need to look in, because how do we have that if we don't have that confidence?
Well, and
with
it's a
ourselves?
learned thing.
That is
Absolutely.
So parents, get mental health checks so you can help your kids cope, man. If
That's
you don't have it, they can't give it to them.
That's it. Now, there's a time and a place for medications, absolutely. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Paxil. I was off of it a couple of years ago, and I almost ended up in the lake. So it was a really rough period. So back on the Paxil, and started CBDs and started doing the THC a little more regularly. And lo and behold, things got so much better.
And how, so now for the art of openness, are you okay with this describing? How is it better, and what were some of those steps that you are taking that's making your life better?
Gosh, I've dealt with depression probably since I was about 12 or 13. So by this point, it's become like part of my identity. I'll probably never be free of it. It's sad, but that's just the way it is. I've got so many people around me that love me, and it's kind of it's a love-hate relationship with that. I resent that people care about me because they keep me here, but at the same time, I'm really thankful for the people that love me because they keep me here.
Yeah. Hey, fuck
And
you for loving me,
I
because
know.
I could just leave
I know.
right now.
It's ridiculous, but that's the truth of it. It's like the more people that go, "Oh, Sunny, you're so wonderful," and it's like, "Oh, damn you."
Yeah. Fuck.
Because you know, if there was nobody, and if I could walk away from it, I probably would have a long time ago.
If you could see my real insides and how grumpy and sad I am, you wouldn't think that.
Yeah, and we try our darndest to push people away. I've got a rock solid husband. That man I put him through hell 2 years ago. He learned how to deal with it. I told him what I needed, and that's what he did. He I couldn't ask for more. No. And that it starts with... I met him
at the walk too. Beautiful eyes, genuine.
You've got Brittany, other veterans. If you don't have somebody in your corner, find somebody.
Yep. Make
sure you've got a cheerleader of your own.
And don't try to make it, if you don't, I'm going to say this too, I've seen this with a few. If you're later, don't try to be intimate. Don't go on Tinder. Don't go to these things. No, man.
No.
Just find a buddy or gal pal that isn't even intimate in the slightest. Be a Buddhist monk.
It's not about sex. It's about being able to be with someone and be vulnerable for a few minutes.
And safe without any pressure of anything.
That's it, exactly.
So keep it low key. I think that's one of the big things. Like, even I'm still progressing. Like, people probably look at me and they're like, "Hey, you're fucking awesome," but I'm still progressing. This is like our best week of communication for Brittany and I. Period.
Which is awesome. awesome.
And it's, again,
But it gets better from here. Each time you have a good communication session.
we've learned, and the brain's held on to that.
Exactly. And it's muscle memory. You know that from bodybuilding and being in sports. It's muscle memory.
Yep.
You get used to reacting a certain way, same as the military trains you, and that's, you know, you have that knee-jerk reaction.
Oh, buddy, I'm so
Same
blessed.
thing happens emotionally.
Shit happens, and
Yeah.
my brain, I have this gift, it turns everything off. I'm a shell.
Yeah.
And I just perform until my programming is done, and
Yeah.
then it's over.
Yeah.
And then I come back.
And that's a hard thing to break, for sure.
That's the
Yeah.
biggest thing. I've been in a lot of fights and altercations because my switch has just been turned on.
And
cannabis throws that slows it down.
Well, you know, it does, and it allows you to be emotional. With my husband, though, it helps calm him down so he's not too emotional, because he tends to be a very emotional person, and I tend to not be.
Cool.
He remembers the anniversary, I forget it.
Oh, nice.
He's a lot softer than I am.
He's sensitive bear.
Very much so. You wouldn't know what to look at him, but because he's one of those you'd cross the
No.
street to. Yeah, oh, he's a big teddy
hugs,
bear.
yeah. I
Hopefully he's
see
not
the real
listening to
him. No,
this,
he's gonna hear this. I saw he came with his VP shirt, but I saw the cuddles.
Yeah,
I'd sit
absolutely.
for him, though.
Absolutely.
I'm here on the government webpage.
Mhm.
Everything seems pretty straightforward, but are there any
Yeah.
rules here that are confused? So anybody who's listening,
Absolutely.
go to canada.ca and you can get all the rules fairly simply.
Yeah.
But is there anything that we should look out
Yeah, really quick rundown on it. Any storefront right now that is selling cannabis is illegal.
for? Okay, thank you.
That's the big one. You can only get legal cannabis in Ontario by going to the Ontario Cannabis Store and their online portal, and then you order your cannabis and it is shipped directly to your home. If you are going to a store that looks like it might be on the up and up and is selling cannabis, it is illegal. And you know, there is a whole industry out there. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. The only thing that I can say is just be careful. If you're using it as medicine, you deserve to make sure that you're getting a clean and safe product.
Yeah, take the time and talk to people like Sunni about that. I'm going to say that
Yeah.
for reals, because the strands are important, and if
Absolutely.
you're writing down in your journal log that strand 1, 2, 3 is giving you lessened hypervigilance and allowing you to go to the mall and not rip your own skin off, and then it wasn't legit brand 1, 2, 3, and you grab another one, and all of a sudden it ups your paranoia.
Yeah.
So watch out. Back to you. Sorry.
That's it. No, that's a really good point. Journaling is huge. There's actually an app, and a wonderful lady named Ashley. She runs a website called She Can, and it's for female cannabis users. But they do have the occasional guy on there. But Ashley's husband is on the Strain Print team. And if you look up Strain Print, it is actually an app that helps you to journal. So you can keep track of your strains, when you take it, what your effects were. All of the licensed producers put out journals as well, but you can just write it down in like a little notebook. It takes a bit of practice to get into it.
It does. With anything that's writing.
Exactly. I tend to try to commit things to memory, but I mean, at my age, memory is shit. So write things down, even if it's just a little note, you know, good, bad, what the strain name was, and how much you took. That's
I like adding taste, because
flavor.
Oh yeah, it's big for me because
Yeah.
I loved smoking cigarettes. I love cigarettes with all my
yes.
heart.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm the worst ex-smoker, because when I look at it, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
But now with smoking joints, I take time to roll my own.
Mhm.
I really enjoy the leaf in the product because I enjoy vegetables and meat from the same farmers. I respect the same. So I'm enjoying the product. I enjoy the smell. I enjoy the taste. And if it tastes like shit, I won't generally go back to it.
That's also a good point. Is there's a ritual to cannabis. I mean, it's number one. It's very social. People who smoke cannabis generally are very social about it. They share it. They talk about it. They learn about it together, and it's a community all of its own. And then you have the ritual, and the ritual I'm very familiar with because I watched my husband go through it. And you go in through your jar and you pick out that perfect little nug and you smell it and you give it a little squish, and you know, maybe you coo to it a little bit. I've seen people go, "Oh, aren't you a beautiful little bud?"
Yeah, I'm a cooer. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Put it in your grinder, and of course you gotta sniff the grinder after it's ground, and you know, sift it through your sift box or your buddy box or your Cali grinder, you know, those big ones.
Man,
Check out the
so
H.A.F.
nice.
There's so many different aspects to it, and then rolling a joint is like an art form.
It's amazing how this is so demonized. Like, if so.
God forbid anybody be happy at any point.
Oh man,
right?
it's so intense because. Like even I was scared in the military to tell people I smoked before I went in and before I even started training, because I was like, oh, they're gonna think I'm a space cadet, a loser, a dirtbag, lazy, procrastinator.
All of the negative terms.
Yeah, isn't that neat? And I found that my productivity is the same, but not during bodybuilding because I'm so depleted. I'm fucking tired bear.
Yeah.
Usually, but that's because of bodybuilding, not cannabis.
That's that. That's that. Well, that's strenuous too.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, CBDs are good for that, and
calms my nervous system.
Post-workout, absolutely.
Yeah.
The lactic acid, it will help a little bit to get rid of the lactic acid in the muscles, but really 16 minutes after you work out, the lactic acid is depleted.
And
anyways.
but I do use it as a pre-workout CBD, and I can do more reps.
That's that.
So I think
that. And that probably is what most people notice, is it takes the pain away. Your muscles are more prepared for the workout. And you recover faster.
And it's calmer. My nervous system, I'm not hyped. I'm just chill, and my body connection, I'm using it again. I use it spiritually. Cannabis is spiritual to me because it gives me color of life.
And that's the part that a lot of people don't talk about. And there's a certain level of shame I've noticed with people that go, you know, I don't know if I should admit that I like it because it's medicine.
Mm-hmm.
If something in your life that's relatively harmless, like cannabis, so long as you're using it appropriately, if you get a little bit of a buzz from it and it makes you feel good and it makes you feel happy and creative and just lighter, the world is a heavy place. If you can lighten that load without harming anybody, including yourself, it's a win. It's going to be helpful.
And with lighting that emotional load with cannabis, you can, without using the technique of voiding, you can solve your problems because you can do it unemotionally. I've solved so many of my fucking problems by having a joint, chilling, reassessing, and either apologizing with my true heart and being like, I'm deeply sorry for my actions because I realized that I did hurt you.
Exactly.
That sucks. I'm sorry.
Exactly. It allows those ones to come up so that you can make that connection with them in a safe way.
In an awesome way, safe, 100%. I would say, opposed to, and all the veterans, husbands and wives, and they know the aggression that can be, and that's sometimes scary. Yeah. So let's avoid that.
Yeah. And I mean, I love my job. It's not even like work. I call it my second home because it's, you know, people come in, they sit, they have coffee, they come visit, they chat. I try to check in with people as often as I can. Now that I have a second body in the office, that'll be a lot easier. We can be
good.
Because I've slacked a little bit. It's gotten so busy.
Check-ins are very important.
Very much so. And I mean that you would think that I would know that coming from my own situation, where I do tend to isolate, and it happens very, very quickly, and it's pretty dramatic. Where I just all of a sudden I don't want to talk to anybody.
But that's so awesome in itself.
Yeah.
It's like, get away from me, and then you're in your hole, and you're like, yes.
That's it. Yeah. But I get to meet some of the most incredible people, and I get to watch the transformation.
That's nice.
99% of the people have a great response to it. 1%, and I have seen people where it's done absolutely nothing for them.
Is there negative effects other than nothingness? So that's super disappointing. I'm sure they're super crushed.
Nothing physical, nothing permanent. No. So
and how about any rashes, allergic reactions, like it would like penicillin or something?
I have had one patient.
Oh, neat.
They purchased product from a particular licensed producer, and they did get a rash. And it turned out that it was more than likely an allergic reaction to either a fertilizer that wasn't rinsed off completely, or it was a pesticide. Health Canada regulates all of the pesticides very, very stringently. Fertilizers are a little bit different. Through the growing of cannabis, when it comes time to pull the plant, you have to, of course, rinse it out extremely well, because the plant, of course, will suck up a lot of that. It gets on the leaves, it gets into pretty much everything. So there's a process that you have to go through to make sure that that plant is rinsed properly.
So if they don't do that properly.
And it happens. I mean, these are plants, and we're talking about people. It's not an automated service.
And it should never be automated.
No, no. And that brings in the whole other thing of the two camps of cannabis legalization. We have friends who worked on the gray side, and they cared. It was straight from the grower, straight into their product. There weren't any greedy little fingers touching it. It was clean, good product. They closed their doors. They're going to be entering the legal market, which I'm happy for. So that's an incredible talent pool on the gray market side. There are some people out there that know so much about the plant. They love the plant. They want to do good things with it. And it's this whole recreational legalization has sort of burst the bubble for a lot of these people that were hoping to make some money and do things the right way. So it's going to take a little bit longer for them to be players in the market.
I'm excited because I feel like it's allowing me to become a player.
Absolutely.
Because it's giving us time where it's like, because I want to I want to have H.A.F. A5 Q5 rub. I want to have H.A.F. or Iron King CBD bars, crunch bars, like all that good stuff. And I think if I can't make money, I can't run businesses. If I can't run businesses, I can't help people, and I love to help people.
That's it. It gets you out into the community. So not only are you helping yourself, you're creating some income for your family. You got a beautiful family you want to take care of. But you also are doing it for yourself, because by helping other people, you get to heal as well.
Yep, 100%.
And if you make money at it, all the better.
Unfortunately, we have to make money in everything.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, we're
Unless,
crushed.
I've heard a couple of people saying that they wanted to start communes, but, that's a whole other ballgame.
That's so much political work with people. No, man, I don't want none of that business.
No, independent business is good. And it's going to open up next year when retail environments are legal. It's going to open up the ball game for a lot of people. My husband included. He makes edibles as a chef. So these are things that he wants to do, is develop these menus and handle the product. It makes him so happy.
Wow, I like this. We should do this at least once a month and give updates on the culture of cannabis.
Yeah, as it progresses and grows up.
I think this would be cool updates.
Yeah. And I brought you a little bit of information just to read through on some of the CBDs and how that all works.
Fantastic. But I'm going to do closing. I'll let you do a closing statement for yourself to plug whoever you would like to plug.
It's a long list.
Good. Go ahead. And then after, I'm going to give my closing speeches and then I'll plug.
So it was fantastic being here. I think it's really important, and of course, Canna Connect, we like to support anything that our veterans are doing, especially creatively. And I think it's important that people start the conversation. So at Canna Connect, you can pop in. We're at 20 Montreal Street, right in the heart of downtown Kingston, Ontario. And you can give us a call at 613-699-2667 or shoot us an email at kingston@canadacannabis.ca. We're also on Facebook constantly. We live on Facebook. And you can pop into the office, and we're always there 9 to 5.
I'm going to interrupt you real quick. The Facebook page is informative and keeps you up to date. I did background checks. Your About page, I think, is a little light.
Yes.
But the updates are great. There's no fluff. There's no pushing of opinions. There's two sides on the page. It's great.
Yeah.
Back to you. Sorry.
Thank you. It's I have a love-hate relationship with Facebook. I try to follow up on as many things as I can. I'm just one woman.
Yeah, it's tough.
It is. It is, but I mean, it's a labor of love, and I work for a company that they give me a lot of leeway. So Kingston Canada Connect is it's really my baby. It's a big extension of me. So you get to experience a bit of the sunny bubble, I guess, when you come in, which is okay because it's a safe place.
That's right, and it's your healing story, which helps heal other people. So
Absolutely.
bring your flair to it.
So I get better with every person that I meet.
Nice.
I learn more, and learning more about the veteran world as well. I mean, I can say I'm a supporter, but it doesn't mean that I know everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important as well, because then I go out and I share that with my civilian friends, you know, and find new ways to get civilians to understand that, you know, our military is important. You can't just sit back, oh, that's what that lady was talking about. She said she didn't agree with the military.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't agree with war, and it was just, it pissed me off.
That's not the military. That's the politicians.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So,
You know?
and that's a big thing.
But you don't have that choice when you join the military. Just say no.
So you better know who you're voting for,
Exactly.
because there's dudes and gals that are fucking enclosing with and destroying enemies for you.
That's it. And I mean, our veterans, when we've got, $273 million sitting in reserves that still hasn't been touched.
Hasn't been touched, and there's 87,000, I know that's an initiative.
Mm-hmm.
I've applied for all the grants.
Yeah.
But I am not entitled to none of them, because I'm not an educated individual.
Oh, for crying out loud. I didn't realize they had that restriction on there.
Oh, yeah.
So they're going by your academia.
If you have a way to get money, they'll find a way not to give it to you.
Yeah. Yeah, like we've got a couple of, one of my veterans came in today, and he's an amputee. And every year he still has to prove that he's still not gone lizard and grown another leg.
I'm dreading mine every time, because I am very active, and I will always be active, and I want to encourage veterans to lead and bring capital to Canada, because we're brilliant entrepreneurs, I think.
Definitely.
But I'm always scared, and I think I'm coming to an end where they're going to cease all monies to me, and that's fine. I'm not going to fight it. It's the way she goes, but I'm not making any money off anything yet. But it doesn't matter, because I'm still working.
Well, and that's what I don't understand is they give you a status and a designation, and it's a whatever level of broken you are that they're going to pay for. But if you have any aspirations,
that's right.
You don't want to sit
broken.
at home and just be broken. You want to be broken and employed. You want to be broken and giving back.
And there's no way that I can go to any other job, because I know that for a fact, and that's why I created my own.
And you are very much like a lot of the veterans out there.
And so it's scary for us, because like, if this doesn't actually work, all of this that you're in right now, it's gone. These are closing ceremonies. We started this again. So
I know.
Back to you. We're rabbit hole.
We're definitely going to have to do this.
Yes, I like this.
It's a good conversation. So yes, drop by Canada Connect in Kingston. I am there every day, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and sometimes on weekends.
Fantastic hours. Woohoo.
And Sherry Bordage, our veteran ambassador, she's ex-REME. I don't have her bio with me, otherwise I'd rattle it off. But come in and talk to her. She's absolutely fantastic.
Awesome.
And Canada Connect is Canada-wide. If we don't have an office in your province, we do have an ambassador in your province.
Oh, fantastic.
And we are big for veterans. Civilians as well. We've got a lot of civilians, first responders, paramedics, corrections. We work with pretty much everybody.
Shout out to the corrections right now.
Absolutely.
You guys need a huge ambassador, somebody to represent you and sort this undermanning and overworking issue out.
Yeah, and the amount of PTSD
Holy
and various
smokes.
moral traumas that are happening in corrections as well.
Man.
Quite a few. And D&D is really good at covering up all that stuff, but that's a whole other topic as well. Yes, nobody wants to talk about that. No.
Actually, I'm going to have a guest that's going to be talking about all the Rwanda issues. I'm very excited. He was there, and so he's a big advocate for the methylpin and Rwanda period. So he's going to be coming here. We're going to do a video podcast and show the numbers.
And that's it too. And that I cannot believe they knew long before the methylquin was administered that it was dangerous. but they went ahead and did it anyway because it was like captive test audience.
That's right.
Yeah,
'Cause we,
just guinea pigs.
yep, yes sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Take 2 handfuls,
And
sir.
it was absolutely shameful, and for them to turn around and say no, it was completely safe when evidence proves that it was not.
Yeah.
Is incredible. So
Politicians,
yeah, there's a
politicians.
lot of issues that veterans need to work on, and that need to be brought to the forefront. And I think there's a lot of division in the veteran communities, and I think you don't have to agree with each other, but you have to have that common goal.
That's right.
And then you can put that aside and you can get down to business and get shit done.
And there will always be, to all veterans groups out there, because I know for a fact, you won't get along because guess what? We're generational. You guys, old dogs, probably won't, you probably all hate me, but it doesn't matter because I'm still doing the right for my group, and you do the right for your group, and I'll support you.
But in the end, you all end up in the same place,
That's
which
right.
is you all want better benefits for veterans.
Yeah, and I think the main cause, my number one, if somebody flies a banner, I don't care about anything else other than healthcare.
That's it.
Just make sure there's good healthcare and dental for the boys and gals out there.
Yeah. Yeah, and that you don't have to prove repeatedly that you still have a
that
lost
too.
limb.
That's right.
Yeah. Excellent.
Any other clothing?
No, that was it. Just pop in and see us.
All right. So this is where I end. Thank you so much for listening to our H.A.F podcast. This podcast is just a way to get perspective out there on our reality of the world. It doesn't have to be your reality, but if we share our perspectives, we'll hopefully have more empathy towards each other. Check out H.A.F printing co.ca. That's my Hard as Fuck clothing line. That line is a beacon, so if you see somebody wearing that, you know that they are active listeners and they're empathetic. That's the gist of it. It could be frontline servicemen and women, police, veterans, doctors, nurses. That person wearing it is a good person. Second of all, October 28th at 2 p.m. we're having National Hockey for Heroes game. Oh yeah, super woo, and it's gonna be a story being told. It's just not about hockey. It's a story in a way to connect community and perspectives again.
Yeah.
And lastly, business and being an entrepreneur is difficult. I want to thank everybody who allows me to do this. I want to thank everybody that allows me to keep growing and being better for you. It is stressful. It is consuming, and sometimes I want to quit. But I will never quit, and I thank every one of you for allowing me not to quit. One family, one community. Let's make the world a little bit better. Thank you.
Awesome.
Cool. Done.
Good stuff. There you go.
So how'd you
Boy,
feel?
we squirrel badly. It's like me and
That's good.
Yeah, it is.
That is good.
It is. It's a good conversation.
That's right.
It was fun.
And that's what I go for because I have my close notes for when we do go into deep.
Yeah.
But I like the flow. Otherwise,
Yeah,
it's
it
boring.
works.
Yeah.
It works. Very good. And the clothing line, yeah, it's you know, if you want to do up a couple of T-shirts and we can hang them at Camp
Oh, cool.
Connect
Yeah, I would love to do that actually.
Because I'm actually doing up, it's a veteran wall, and it's going to be like 10 feet by about 6. So I've got Kevin Sweeney, who's going to put some of his artwork up there
Nice.
for sale. So we can give some business
That's
to
good,
him.
dude.
If you wanna have
His
a couple
fucking
T-shirts
medical
up
journey
there.
is intense, man. They're like, he's at Queens right now,
I know.
getting like magnets put up on his
Yeah.
head. That's intense.
Yeah, he has. But you know what? He just keeps doing it. He got back into the art, and I love his stuff. I bought one of his pieces, and then he gifted me with the matching set. So I got Kit Check, and then there's the other one, and he's going to give that to me as a gift, which I was just like thrilled.
Okay, so we're gonna keep the date. We're gonna pull this.
These are actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that was my first run ever.